Question 5. The figure shows a sketch of the curve C with equation y equals f of x. The curve C passes through the point -1, 0, and touches the x-axis at the point 2, 0. The curve C has maximum at the point 0, 4. So pretty much all that information is just summed up on the diagram below. The equation of the curve C can be written in the form y equals x squared plus x cubed plus ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are integers. Calculate the values of a, b, and c. So I guess the key information are these coordinates here from the question. And also, what's key is that it can be written in this form. Now, notice how the number in front of x squared is 1. That's going to be really helpful for us. And a, b, and c, once it's written where they're integers. So integers means whole numbers. So we need to know what integers means. That's our translation step. So integers equals whole numbers. They can be negatives, they can be positives. Okay, so some of our other key knowledge is for cubic. So cubics can be written, if the first term is just x cubed, then I can write it kind of as 3 linear factors. Or I can write it as a linear factor and a quadratic factor. So that's my key knowledge. I also know that if a curve goes through a point, so if it goes through the point, let's say past the point A0, so that's a root, then we know that x minus a will be a factor. Yeah, from the factor theorem, so similar to question 1. I also know that instead of going through, so that is going through a point A0, if it touches or bounces, I know that's another word we've used, at the point A0 on the x-axis, then that means x minus a squared will be a factor, because it's kind of going through twice. It's going through once, then instantly coming back out of it. So that's why we have that squared there. Okay, so let's try and put that all together to come up with a solution. So I know that it goes through -1, 0. So I know that x plus 1 is a factor. Yeah, that's from the factor theorem, because that's telling me that f of -1 equals 0. So therefore, x plus 1 must be a factor. I also know, looking at the diagram and reading the question, that at 2, 0 it bounces, which means that x minus 2, and it's going to be a -2 because f of positive 2 would be 0, so therefore will be x minus 2. Now if I square that, that is also a factor. So if I have that information, I know that my curve y is going to equal x plus 1 times x minus 2 squared. Now normally we would have to have some kind of coefficient here at the front, because it might not be x cubed, but for this question it tells me it is going to be x cubed, so I don't need to worry about that k there, so I can kind of forget that. But I'm just saying that there. For other questions like this, you'd have to put the k there, and you would use the third point, the 0, 4, you would sub in x is 0, y is 4 to show that k is, to work out what k is. In fact, actually I might leave the k in just to kind of show you. So if we expand that. So I'm going to expand the square bracket first. So we can do that quickly in our heads. The middle bit, it'll be 2 lots of x times minus 2, so that's minus 4x. Minus 2 squared is positive 4. Now if I expand that again, you might prefer to do this as a grid. You might be able to do this by inspection. As long as you can do it, I don't really care how you do it. Inspection might make things a bit quicker. However, I'm more bothered about you getting the right answer at this stage than the speed you get it. So x cubed, x squared, minus 4x squared, minus 4x, plus 4x, plus 4. So then if I simplify what's inside that, I get x cubed, x squared, take away 4x squared is minus 3x squared, minus 4x plus 4x gives me 0 x's, and then I get a plus 4. And now we know for this question k is going to be 1 because it tells me that there's nothing in front of the x squared. But I'm just going to show you how you would do that normally in questions like this that maybe is a bit trickier. So we've also got the point 0, 4. So we know that when x is 0, y is 4. So if we sub that in, I get 4 equals k lots of 0 cubed, take away 3 times 0 squared, plus 4, which just simplifies to 4 equals k times 4. So very quickly you can see k is just 1. So therefore y is equal to x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4. So the marks, you can get 1 mark, so I'll write this to the side, for spotting that x and 1 will be a factor, and you can have a plus or minus in the middle, or x and 2 is a factor, and again plus or minus in the middle. You get a second mark for getting the signs right, so you have to have x plus 1, and you have to have x plus 2. So I'm going to put the word and there, put it all for the top one. Okay, for the third one, you have to the third mark, you have to have it all correct. You have to have x plus 1 and x minus 2 with a squared. For the fourth mark, you have to multiply out the quadratic and then multiply by the linear term. So you might not get the right numbers that we've got, but by expanding yours, because for example, if you put minus 1 instead of plus 1, you can still get that mark by expanding, and then the last mark comes from getting the right answer. So what I mean by that fourth mark is, imagine you had x minus 1, x plus 2 squared, which obviously the signs are wrong, but if you expanded that, you can still get that fourth mark there. You obviously wouldn't get the second mark or the third mark, but you would get the fourth mark. So you could get 2 marks if you got the signs wrong.